She's stuck inside my mental. She got a body like a temple. Even though she drives me crazy, I tell everyone that's my baby. She's pretty like a 4K sunset. Blue-eyed baby from the Midwest. Body so bad when she undressed. If I was your ex, I'd be upset. Little did he know I was up next. Big brown boy with the big flex. I know that you know I'm the one. She's stuck inside my mental. She got a body like a temple. Even though she drives me crazy, I tell everyone that's my baby. Lately gotta keep my memories on a leash. I know they tend to get a little bit away from me. I keep that photo in my wallet from 2000.
Hello.
What's up, y'all?
Welcome back. My name is Beautiful.
I'm Ace.
And we are
Together Real Bad. And we got a special guest.
Whoop, whoop.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
This is Pam B, our neighbor.
Hello.
And fellow ally.
Hello.
In the building.
Yeah. I was just on the We need a button.
I have a button, but nothing is loaded in it.
I have a button in my head. So does that count? Okay, yes.
Absolutely, it counts. Welcome to our humble home. It's just like yours.
Thank you.
Except one floor up.
Exactly. And much nicer, I should say.
No,
the bright lights in big city.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate that. So we were talking a little bit about what you were cooking today. Please let us know what that was.
So I have made some braised short ribs and some collard and turnip greens. And I did leave cornbread cooking in the oven, but with a 19-year-old son watching it, so I hope it's not burned when I go back downstairs.
Was he awake when you asked him to watch it?
He was, and I asked him to set a timer, but that doesn't mean
that it happened. Yeah.
Yes. I hope he does his job and keep an eye on it.
I mean, if he doesn't, he just ain't gonna have cornbread.
No cornbread.
That's real easy.
That's a good punishment. Not punishment, but like consequence.
But that affects her too.
I mean, yes, but also him.
Not really, because I really don't like cornbread. I only made it because I made the greens.
Oh.
I don't like cornbread either.
I don't like soggy bread. So
Me
when I eat it, I put it on my paper towel.
Hate soggy bread. And I like my cornbread buttery, like drown and drizzle. I love it.
Touch. It cannot be on the
Oh,
same
yeah.
Have you ever been to Virtue?
Yes.
Have you had their cornbread?
Yes.
That's how y'all like it?
Yes.
It's very good.
Did I have their cornbread when we went? Probably not.
I don't think
they
you
got good
did.
short ribs too.
Oh, I had short ribs before. This is real good. Oh, we all off topic. We talking about food.
Sorry.
But that sounds fire. I'm trying to figure out what we're gonna have tonight.
For sure. I don't know what we're gonna have. But the holiday is around the corner. Pam.
Yes.
Are you done Christmas shopping?
Absolutely not. I just got into the spirit about 2 days ago.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And as such, all I'm going to say is going to be a lot of gift card giving on.
Oh, period. Well,
that's the best, actually.
Yeah, a 19-year-old needs a gift card anyway, right?
That dude got a brand new gaming monitor.
Oh.
He fine.
Oh. The $300 one that's wide like this and it
Absolutely
curves?
not.
Okay.
Oh.
The $109 one at Best Buy.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, they have gaming monitors that are like $300.
No.
You better than me because I just got into the Christmas spirit
20 minutes ago.
About an hour. No, it was a couple hours because I went shopping before I had to be at the
That's when
competition.
it's best, though.
Is it?
When you're like up against the clock,
No.
you get creative. Like, oh, this is beautiful.
No.
But the worst part of that is like shopping, like with the crunch of time, is like you see things and you like, you know who that would look good for? Me.
Exactly.
And so that's what makes it hard.
Okay, but no, if you do it too much ahead of time, you're like, ooh, I liked it for her 2 months ago, but I don't like it now.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't take it back to the store, so then you've lost money.
No, you end up keeping it for yourself, I'm sure. Yeah. Yes.
I heard this lady in the store complaining. She was on the phone and she was loud and super ghetto too. So that was one thing that got on my nerve.
We take it back, ghetto. We taking it back. She was just super loud.
She was very She wasn't using her inside voice at all.
Okay.
Boisterous.
Yes. And she was complaining about the fact that, like, I guess family members, I'm assuming these are family members. It could have been like really close friends or whatever. And how, you know, she always does for other people when it comes to gift giving, and they don't do the same for her. And how she's not going to be buying so-and-so and get a gift because they wouldn't spend that amount of money on her. And how people who she give gifts for are ungrateful when the item doesn't have a name brand on it. But when she get gifts from them, she doesn't get anything with name brand or anything like that. And so she not getting no gifts for nobody like that.
And my response was, that's not what it's all about, in short. What is your response?
Mine would have been like, then you should have stopped giving gifts a long time ago, because that ain't even the spirit of what you're supposed to be giving something.
Exactly. That's not what that's all about. It was actually really sad to hear. And you could hear from, she was in the front of the store, I was in the back.
So
and
that's
I heard
somebody
it all.
who need to be visited by Scrooge, because that's not even the point.
Yeah.
I feel like people miss the point sometimes. Like, I try and
All
give as
the
much as I
time.
can. I don't even want anything. You saw the stuff around here? We got too much stuff.
People think I'm playing when I say, like, ooh, I could really use some socks.
Me too, and I'll be serious.
Like some designs on my socks.
Yeah.
Like I got some like pandas on some socks. Yes.
Okay, you like character socks too.
I love socks. But when I say I want some socks or like something simple,
they don't think you mean it. But you can use that stuff.
Yes.
Instead of
and
just
I'm gonna use it.
Yeah. And so you throw away 2 pair since you got 2 pair and no harm is done.
So then I had to spend my birthday money on socks because nobody got me socks. That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
it's the simple things.
The little things in life. Fair enough. Well, we're going to jump into it. Our topic for today is basically being an LGBTQIA plus ally.
As my friends say, lick a bick a ticket. And they're not really my friends. They're my friends. They're my friends in my heart. They're my friends in my heart. Shout out to Kid Fury and Crystal.
Have you seen
I love them, first of all. I love them. Okay. So, yes. Okay. All right.
Is that there's a
funny,
meme about that? Is that where they got that from, or did they make that up?
I'm not sure if they made it up, but I'm gonna say they did. I'm gonna give them credit for it because that's the only time I've ever heard it is during their podcast.
No, it was a whole like meme online where I forget the whole joke of it, but he was like, "What is lick a bigger ticker?" He couldn't figure it out. He was trying to like sound it out as a word,
and not an acronym.
Yeah, and it just it's hilarious, hilarious. Okay. I digress. Back to why Pam is here today. She is representative of an LGBTQIA plus ally, and we appreciate her for that. And she's also our neighbor, in case we haven't said that. I think I said that. But we will jump into it. First and foremost, what does being an ally mean to you?
Being a human being.
Oh, period. Because I wonder sometimes.
I mean, being just kind. I mean, that's what it is. It's kind of like I wouldn't let anyone sit in front of me and talk about one of my friends like a dog. Like, what? What are you doing? Like, what? No, it just means being kind. And that's it. Being kind. Like, people want to make it sound like scary, hokey thing. But it's really just being kind and really using your, some people get thrown off by the word privilege.
Yeah.
But using your access to power or your access to resource, right? To speak for the people who are not in the room.
Right. Okay. I like that. Because I think people think that they can be kind. Oh, I'm kind. But I don't like this category of person, or I don't like that category of person.
Work, because then you're not being kind.
Well, but they think they are, though. I should have been
in church with me this morning. That is not being kind.
Well, I gotta think they think is that it's just, I'm a kind person, even though I don't like so and so and so and so.
That's what makes them sleep better at night.
Right.
Stop playing.
Okay.
We got a whole part of town that's full of folks like that, but I won't say which part of town.
You can.
I'm sure that's the mindset of the Karens of the world too.
I'm just saying. You know, you have I think as humans, we have a responsibility, right? To speak up for folks who are not present. Because if I'm present, I don't need you to speak up for me.
Because you're going to say something. I know you're going to say something as a Scorpio.
Absolutely. All day. So, I mean, and that's what it means to me.
It may not mean that to others, but yes,
Correct.
That's what it means to you. Okay. No, I understand that. I get that completely. This is I don't know that you've ever counted, but how many friends do you have that are, you can count us too, that are part of the LGBT
Too
community?
many.
Too many. I like that answer.
Because if I came up with a number, be like, well, I got one black friend. But it literally is too many to name.
And that's good. Like, that's awesome. Has this been since like forever? High school, college, little girl?
You know, I was thinking about this. You know, I grew up on the west side of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say that I did not necessarily become aware of friends or people who were part of the LGBTQIA plus community until I was maybe in college. Like, I knew people,
right,
but I didn't encounter people who were my peers until. Let me back
it up even more. Okay.
I didn't knowingly encounter folks until college.
Okay.
But now in retrospect, I do know that I was friends with people in high school.
Okay.
Who were part of that.
Were they not out? They were out?
They were not out. They were not out. I didn't know the concept of being out until I got to college. Like, so some of this stuff is just like second nature to me. So I think back to, this is a funny story, but maybe, I don't know, people gonna find it funny. I had to be about in 5th or 6th grade, I want to say, and I was watching videos, of course.
5th
I'm
grade
dating myself.
videos. Yeah.
I was still watching videos too.
And
what, YouTube? Because I know when she was watching videos, there wasn't no YouTube.
MTV.
Okay, first of all, so I got some
BET.
years. I got some years on y'all.
I mean,
I'm not gonna say this, but I did just celebrate my 50th birthday. Okay.
yes, and that party was busting.
Yes.
Bussin'.
So I had to be about 10 or 11 maybe. And I was watching videos, and a Sylvester video came on. And I was like, that's a man in a dress. And I ran out my mom's room, and I was like, Mom, it's a man on the TV in a dress. And so she was like, she looked all strange because she was there with a good friend of the family who I had known for a very long, like I'd known him all my life as far as I knew. And so I remember her pulling me back into her room and saying like, you can't make fun of no man in no dress. Oops. I was like, okay, I didn't know. He's just a man in a dress. Well, it turns out the friend of the family was gay.
Oh.
Okay.
And so, but he was someone I referred to as my homie.
Right.
Like, he was somebody, like, that's who I knew. He was like my mother's brother. So he was like an uncle to me. And so I had that kind of exposure early on.
Right.
So I've always known, you know, I didn't know what it meant to be gay. I just knew. So it's like, okay, like, this ain't nothing new.
See, so Mama was the same way. She's like, come on, everybody is welcome.
I love that.
I love it.
Because we didn't grow up the same.
Well,
Yeah,
and so, well, we could talk about it, right? The toxicity in the Black community as it relates to the LGBTQIA plus community is huge, is rampant, and it saddens me that is the case, because many of us, I have close relatives who are in domestic partnerships, who that's all I know.
Right.
And I had a real life experience when people talk about, I used to think that proximity didn't matter, but it does matter.
Yeah.
I was at work and my uncle's partner called me one day and he was like, they're taking him to the hospital. You know, I said, okay, like, what hospital is he in? Like, why are you calling me? Like, how come you're in the ambulance with him? And he was like, they won't let me go. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, what you mean they won't let you go? So I immediately went into Scorpio. I'm like, what the, you know? And so then it hit me afterwards, like, oh.
Yeah.
And so then that bothered me to my core, because as I was thinking was that if something were to happen to my uncle, we would ask his partner, like, what were his wishes? Like, what's up? But the world and the law doesn't see it like that, right?
Yeah.
And so that's always kind of bothered me a bit.
Right.
So anyway, that's the background.
Aw, that made me sad because
Sorry.
it's like, no, it's okay.
And you're fine though, but I'm just saying, like, that was something that was like, whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
That ain't supposed to happen.
It just gives me pause because like we're together. So we've been together for like a year and a little bit. But it's like, okay, so as time goes on, you got to do stuff or try to do things to make it legal just so that your partner has a say, which I'm fine with. But some people may not want to get married, right? And so that kind of leaves them at a, I don't know, like at a disadvantage, I guess. So
I would encourage y'all, if you care about the person, do a living will.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because even as a heterosexual woman married to a heterosexual man or whatever the case may be, what I'm learning is that the laws are jacked up.
Yeah.
It's bad.
And if you are not specific about your wishes and get it legalized in some sort of way, it's horrible.
Yeah, because you have to split it between like your husband and then a kid, and if your kid has kids, it just like is an ongoing. It keeps going, basically. Yeah.
And then let's just say that someone is not a fan of y'all, right? And something happens to one of y'all. You got people who will come out of the woodwork that you probably ain't spoke to in forever. Be like, oh no, she can't have that.
And like, who are you?
Right.
And now you're there. People kick your partner out of the home that they've known forever because it's not legal. Yeah, that's
make it make sense.
Yeah.
But nevertheless,
you said I digress.
Well, one thing I can say is like me and this is a little bit unrelated to what you were talking about, but going back to you being an ally and being an ally for us and more than a neighbor, I really appreciate you because I don't have like a close-knit community around me that I can just be myself. Like I'm building that because I, for many years, like have suppressed this part of my life and I haven't had the people around me be as accepting as I would have thought. Like I'm still in the closet, so to speak, when it comes to my parents. They have absolutely no idea.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that breaks my heart.
Yeah.
That breaks my heart. Because I look at, got a 19-year-old son, right? Am I happy with all parts of his life? Absolutely not, right? But it's that would be amazing for me to find out that he was in a loving relationship with someone and he did not feel safe enough to tell me. That would break my heart.
Yeah.
I wish everybody felt the same.
I do too.
I would probably cuss him out now. Let's be real. Like I'm not gonna be. This gonna be rainbows and lollipops. I would probably cuss him clean out.
Like you already know who I am.
But it would make me question what I have said in my past actions that made him feel unsafe to do so. I had a very close friend, and this may be getting to some of your questions. A very close friend who I had known them for years and decided to come out to me. And I was devastated. I'm like, what? Because it's like your whole world gets like what you knew is no longer what you know, right? So it took me a couple of days to figure this out. And one of the first questions I asked them, I said, had I ever done anything or said anything to make you feel unsafe to share this before now? Because had I done so, I would want to know. Like that's behavior I would have wanted to correct it, apologize, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's part of it. Like I want to make certain that I am a safe space for folks. Period.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wish I had a mom like you too, because it's even though I think I told my mom when I was like 27, and she still is like, she sent something to my phone because we're actually going to visit her in Mississippi next week. And I had to ask.
First of all, it's Mississippi, but we ain't gonna talk about
Mississippi. Okay, okay.
Mississippi.
Mississippi. It is, but okay. I digress. Anyway, I go, hey, did you plan on coming up here for Thanksgiving, or I'm sorry, for Christmas? And she was like, oh, I hadn't thought about it. I thought you were coming down there. I was like, well, Kim wants to come and I want her to come too. And if you come up here, it'll be cheaper. But if we go down there, we have to stay in a hotel, rent a car, right? I was throwing all these things out there. And she was like, oh, well, I just still can't believe I just have a hard time accepting that you're gay. I don't know. Let me think about it a couple of days. And I'm just like, I'm 41 years old. Like, this was 14 years ago that I told you this, and you've been through, like, she's been here. She was here when my dad was living. Like, I feel like after 14 years, it should just be like a...
Okay.
Yeah, tell me from a mom's
in defense of your mother.
Okay, tell me. She's 75. I'm going to throw that out there.
Okay. Oh, especially with her being 75.
Her
like,
age,
it's very, very different. And as a parent, having a child is like having your heart walking around in the world and you can't do nothing to protect it. You just got to let it go. Right? So as a parent, you want the absolute best for your child. And this world is so ugly.
Yeah.
That if my son were to tell me that he was gay, my heart would weep for him because of the way the world would treat him. Not the people who were part of his village, but because of the way that the world would treat him. It's like you don't want that for your kid. And so I would say to you, so even though you feel like it was 14 years ago, for her it was yesterday.
I get that. And I don't know what her thought process is. I don't know that she's thinking so much about how the world would treat me as much about as how the family would view me and how people on my dad's side would view me. I really think like that's her main concern. What I don't think she knows is my aunt met her at when we went to a funeral, and my aunt was like, she's just been keeping you away from me all this time. Gave her a hug and a kiss and all that, and was like so accepting of it. And I'm just like, like,
did your aunt know though?
Yeah.
Did your aunt know who she was here?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. On the other hand, the other aunt.
When we went to Detroit, that other aunt, I don't know. I think she gathered after a time, but I don't think that she knew. So now my thing is, I'm gonna just move around, and if people ask me who she is, I'll tell them. And
so, I guess I got to keep anonymity for folks, right?
You don't have to.
I mean, people gonna watch this and be like, "Oh, she talking about so and so." That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So I would say that my mother, who is 78, I think she's 78. She has a sister who lost her long time life partner about a year or so ago. But this is so. It took her a minute to like warm up to the fact that she had this partner. And I remember back in the day, I remember my mother saying like, "Oh, she can't bring her here. She can't stay here. Like she can visit, but they can't stay here."
Yeah.
But like fast forward like a few years ago when she went to visit them, she stayed in their house. You know what I mean? Right. So I would say give your mom some grace, because we know the Black community has a very complicated relationship.
Yes. With everything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true. That's true.
But,
I mean, but still, I understand. And I think it gets the further back the generations go, the worse it is.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I think it also depends on where they grew up as well. Yes. I feel like the morals and values are definitely different. Like her mom is from the South. My mom is from the South.
Yeah.
So that on top of religious views can definitely shape the way they think. And
100%. But the way I think about it is that I don't have a heaven nor a hell to put you in.
Oh, period. Period.
Snaps.
I mean, goodness.
Period.
Okay. And what?
I mean, I feel like if I'm...
First of all, it ain't nobody's business. I was embarrassed when I got pregnant and started showing, because everybody knew what I did. Right? So, I mean, it's just different.
And it goes back to what you always say. My sin is no bigger than your sin.
I always say that. How you going to condemn me because I love somebody?
Again, first of all, You don't have a heaven nor a hell to put me in.
Period.
Okay, so you better pray that you make it where you supposed to be going.
Period.
That's all I got to say about that before I get in trouble.
Uh-oh. Well, we'll move forward to our next question, which is, look, hold on, let me get my phone together. It keeps closing. Okay, so your husband is a husband, a straight male,
A for real husband,
a straight male. I met him, know him, been around him, seems real cool. Did y'all have like a conversation about like, look, if you around me, you're gonna be around all my gay friends too, or you didn't have to have it? Like, what did that look like?
So he is my second husband.
Okay.
My first husband did have issues with me having so many gay friends, but he never said that.
Okay.
It just showed up.
I was gonna say, how did that show?
It just showed up in weird kind of ways.
Right.
But in my mind, like, okay, well, shit, they the ones who came to help me when I needed help. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
And so that's a good question because it actually never came up. Because it's such a part of my life that I don't even feel like I need to discuss it.
Or
like,
explain yourself. Yeah.
The one thing I asked was like, you got a passport? Like, I didn't ask anything about anything else. And so what's funny is that one of my very, very good friends, like a bestie of mine, she was actually the one who helped me orchestrate him meeting my son.
Ah.
Like, I want to say, did she pick him up from the airport? I want to say she picked him up from the airport and brought him to her house because I want to say it was the 4th of July because it was like, okay, let's do it this time because then he going to be amongst the kids and they going to do this whole thing.
Right.
And so it was never a question. It was never a conversation, actually. Now, if you ask him, he might got some other stuff to say. but he's respectful enough of my love for my friends that even if he did have something swirling around in there, it would never part his lips.
I was about to say it would not come out his mouth.
Would never part his lips.
Oh, but what if it did? Would you have an issue? Would that be a thing?
Like I want to know, like, what, like, scenario wise, right? What would that conversation look like?
You see what my glass says, right?
Read the glass.
My glass says, I'm one glass away from bringing up shit from 3 years ago. So there you go. I don't even know what that would look like. I'm going to be honest, I would probably feel betrayed in some way. Because we've been together for so long and you've been a part of this circle. Like, these are folks who are part of my son's village.
Right.
Like, if I were to call them when we were living someplace else, we were literally like a mile, like I could walk to their house.
Okay.
And these are friends, they're family. Like, they were the ones that I could call and be like, can you go and pick him up or can you do this or whatever? So if something were to come up, I would probably feel a sense of betrayal and it would take me a minute to really figure out like what's happening.
So I don't want to say a deal breaker, but
like we 10 years in, which is why I'm saying betrayal, because it's like you never showed this to me. And for me, I let people know my deal breakers up front.
Yeah.
So then that way you're not wasting your time and I'm not wasting mine. So yeah, I don't even know what that would look like. Like I would.
That's interesting. It would give you pause for sure.
Yeah. Like what? Whoa. In what world is
who this woman?
Exactly. Yep. That's exactly what it would be.
Wow. Interesting.
That's a good question.
Oh.
That makes me think.
It does make me
like
think.
If there were people, I mean, obviously for me, like, because I'm still in my coming out process, like close friends I've had to kind of have that conversation, but I'm not the type to like have a sit down conversation. It's always been things like said, like not matter of factly, but like on the slide, like, yeah, you know, I'm dating this girl or something like that. And if they didn't accept that, like they had a hard time with that, I would have to let them go.
So I'm going to flip the tables just a little bit. So this has to be scary for you right now in like your coming out phase or whatever, because people are ugly. And when you don't know that side with it, but it comes out of nowhere. Like, so I'm gonna ask you the same question. What if a longtime friend?
I would honestly give them time to marinate on it, because it's something that they're gonna have to get used to. And they're used to seeing me in a certain way, and they have to now get used to seeing me not like unsuppressed and it being like living in my true colors, my real being, right? And so that's going to look different for them. And people don't like change. No matter how much they say like, oh, I can adapt in any environment. People don't like change. And so, yes, I will give them time. But if within that time, like you still can't accept me, or you're saying slick comments, or you're not accepting the person that I'm with, I would have to cut you off. And I'm at a time in my life where that's okay for me. Doing this podcast is kind of like a healing process for me, because it's forcing me to live my true life. And friends have found out about this, podcast. And though they might not have said their true feelings or thoughts on it, they haven't said anything negative. Well, that's all that I really ask for,
Yeah, don't be disrespectful.
Yeah, but some people,
I know.
Don't give a damn.
And I stay on ready. Like, say it.
Say it. Go.
I dare you. I cut you. Well, what is that from? Because
I don't know what that's from.
I don't know. My mama used to say it. So
you're asking me because like King's
I cut you. What's that from?
I don't know.
It's a movie, but you ain't got to go far now. Come on. Black people are creative in our dialect and our colloquialism, so you do.
No. So, like, you don't know this. So, when I was growing up, my mom would just throw out like random lines from a movie that would kind of have something to do with the situation that we might be talking about. Yeah, right. So there'll be a time like we'll be getting in trouble or something like that, and she'll be like, "I'll beat you to the white meat," stuff like that.
Guess how she found out where all that was from?
Oh my word!
Kings of comedy.
I had no idea.
She didn't know.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've seen it now. I've seen it.
Okay, so let's just be very clear. If this is going to be a great relationship moving forward, I am known to just throw out like lines from movies and TV shows because they are appropriate. The other day I was texting one of my friends, and I put a meme in there of Celie sitting in the rocket chair, like, this is me waiting on that reply. Like, just see what it's going to look like. Yes. So you need to know that. I need you to,
You watch Harlem Nights too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I shoot you on your pinky toe. My mama used to say that.
We watched Harlem. When she told me that, I was like, we gotta watch Harlem
now.
Nights.
Who the hell left this swallow oranges in the car? Got my mouth all fixed and watery. Put some orange juice. Sorry.
We go off on tangents like that too. We go off on tangents like that too. Don't worry about it.
Yes.
Don't worry about it. So, so you have a 19-year-old Black young man who I assume has always been around in conversation with people from the LGBT community.
Yep.
So did you raise him with the intent of being an ally, or it was just be kind, or what did that look like? Because I know people can be ugly.
It wasn't intentional.
Okay.
When I had my son, I started this job for a nonprofit organization. He likely was, I don't even know if he wasn't one. He was like just a few months old. Mm-hmm. And I started working for a women's organization. And just over time, so he's never known a life without knowing someone who was part of the LGBTQIA plus community.
Right.
Okay. So it wasn't. He just has never known a life
without it. Basically.
Without it.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. No. That definitely makes sense. Has there ever been a time where he has told you, "Hey, somebody at school was making fun of yada yada yada," and I kind of came to the rescue, in quotation marks, if you will, or had any encounters where
he actually had to practice being
an ally. That's
Not that I'm aware. His generation they are a weird group, right? So for as much as we worry about them or whatever, they are probably one of the most accepting generations that we've seen in a very long time. So it's nothing for them. True story. So as a kid, he had two best friends.
Okay.
A Mexican boy and a white girl.
Mm-hmm.
The white girl is now them.
Okay.
And so again, like he's
like, okay, cool.
It's table stakes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that hasn't happened before. He's had encounters where he was made to feel uncomfortable because he was black. But not so much, seeing people like pick on somebody else or anything like that or whatever. But I would hope that if that has happened, like he's never shared that with me.
Okay.
He's never shared that with me. We did have this now this was funny. He so one of my besties, she is what you would call, I guess, like masculine presenting.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's known her all his life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know what happened or when it clicked or what happened. But I was watching TV and he just came to the doorway of my bedroom and he was just like, is so-and-so a boy?
Wait, how old was he?
He had to be like about 7 maybe. Like 7 or 8. And it was hilarious because, and so maybe, was it earlier that year? We were at their house and I was babysitting. And so he was with me. And so my friend had her hair up in like a bun or something. And he was just cracking up. And he was like, oh, she looked like a girl. And so she was like, I'm sorry, I gotta explore this a little bit. Like, what do you think? So he's had his moments or whatever, but he's never not known the world.
Okay.
Gotcha. It's funny how you say that this generation is more accepting because I came out to the girls that I coach.
Like in passing?
Yeah, it was kind of in passing. Yeah. We were at the gym and I was looking for some notes that I had on them. And so like I was going through the papers that I had and I was like, no, this isn't that. No, this is for the wedding, yada, yada, yada. And they were like, wedding?
Wait, talking me? Hold on. I'm sorry, you said I got distracted, but go ahead. I'm sorry. Stay the course.
No, we are not getting married yet. But they were notes from my best friend's wedding. I'm in her wedding and it's going to be next month.
Okay.
And so I had those notes in my notebook. And so the girls had that same reaction. Okay. She was like, you're getting married? Can we be a part of the wedding? I was like, no, I'm not getting married. This is for my friend's wedding. I was kind of explaining that. And they were like, okay, well, do you have a boyfriend? No, I do not have a boyfriend.
Preface this by saying that I've been going around like here and there, like to their practices or to a meet and just like she would come over and talk to me and then go back and do what she was doing.
Got it.
Right. So I was like, no, I don't have a boyfriend. And I just left it at that. And I like kept going on looking for the notes, whatever. And they go, well, do you have a girlfriend? And I was like,
you got one under the other.
right. So I was like, actually, yes, I do have a girlfriend. They was like, oh.
And they went on about their business.
I was like, cool.
Yeah.
I was like, you've actually, since they had that reaction, I was like, okay, you've actually seen her. I was like, remember that time that there was somebody in the lobby and you guys were like, hey, there's somebody over here. I don't know who that is. Like, who is that?
I think I scared them.
Yeah, you did scare them for sure. You did scare them for sure. I was like, that was her. They're like, oh, and she was at the meet last week. I was like, yes, that's my girlfriend. Like, okay. Well, can we still be in a wedding? Can we come to the wedding? Can we be in a wedding?
I'm telling you, they are different. They're a different breed. I keep on telling them, I was like, you give me hope. Well, sometimes.
We won't talk about the other thing.
Keep it real.
But yeah, they are very accepting. It makes me think about Lauren and her kids.
Yeah, my best friend has 2 daughters and they've like been around, or I've been around their whole lives, and like she just keeps having to have age appropriate conversations with them about like some people have two moms, some people have two dads. So, but she's always like, ever since I told her, which was, you know, years, 14 or so years ago, she's always like prepped them or told them or said something that, you know, to get them to understand, like, you know, it's just not mommies and daddies. It's like, you know, it's a bunch of different kind of relationships out here. So yeah, that always made me feel good because she was in shock when I told her. She had to process it. I gave her time to process it, and then she came back and she was fine. So yeah,
it's and I hate the term ally. I really do. I heard another term for it, but nevertheless, it's hard. It's hard being Black,
number one,
first and foremost,
and being an ally, especially when you are of a certain age, because a lot of times you have friends or your contemporaries who may not have had such an experience like that, or you know what I mean, like it's all this other stuff or whatever, and so you have to tell people like, okay, that's not appropriate language to use in front of me. Like I get it, but you're not gonna say that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
and so it's like, no, you're not gonna do that.
Not here, not today, not me as a Scorpio.
No, you're just not. Like no, like when I leave, you can say whatever you want to, but not in front of me.
Oh well, you know, we appreciate. We need to be looked out for.
I mean, look, I hope somebody is like saying like, if somebody is like, bam, and I'm gonna be like, hold on,
exactly. Wait a minute, but you know, it's hard. Like I'm talking about Pam. I know Pam as a person. I know Pam is not like that, but it's hard when you have people that may have had different experiences, like you said, at different ages. Because back in the day, like if you were a gay man, you were automatically labeled a pedophile. Yeah. Like, and that's not okay, but that's what older people know. So I'm sure they still carry that with them. So it's hard to say, for me, it's hard to say something to somebody that has their own experience because you can't change their mind, can you?
No, you can't. But I think you could have a conversation where at least they may be willing to be stretched in recognizing that was my experience with that person. That wasn't my experience with a collective.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like it is. It's hard. It's hard.
It's hard. Period. That's it. That's all. It's just hard.
Yeah.
What else do we have on the docket here? Okay, so we just have, this is outside of being an ally. Since this is a relationship podcast, we always try.
I just told you I was on my second marriage.
So you have experiences. That's all that means.
Yeah, period.
Life experiences.
Oh, period. And that's what we're talking about. So we always try and talk about in general, like our topics are like, you know, communication and making your relationship better and et cetera, et cetera. So y'all have been married for how long?
It's 7 years this year.
7 years?
7? I think it's 7.
In 2024? Okay. So basically, what tips, or I don't like to say tips, but what insight do you have?
Lessons.
Yes,
lessons learned.
Life lessons learned, insight surrounding how you get through arguments, how you get through disagreements, and how you stay married for 7 years. Because to me, that's a long time. Some people don't make it past one.
I got divorced from my first husband after 11 years, I want to say.
Okay.
Here's what I've learned, though. It's important to be friends with your mate because you fight different.
Yes.
You fight different.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to lose the friendship. And so you're going to fight different. And it's just going to be different.
Right.
He brought to my attention the other day because, in case people watching this podcast can't figure it out, I have a very strong personality. So, but as a consequence of that, there are people who automatically assume what I'm going to say and how I'm going to say it. So they miss sometimes what I'm actually saying. And so he said the other day, like he's one of those people who say like, well, that's what makes the world a beautiful place. It's fine to be different and have different opinions. Not right now. We need to get to the bottom of this, but nevertheless. And so what he said to me, he was like, we got to do better about not shitting on each other's differences of opinions. I was like, fair point. I said, I apologize for that. And so that was a thing because, yes, so like, even though we come from the same hood, we grew up in the same hood, we grew up like 3 blocks away from each other. Our lives took us in different directions. And so we have different cultural experiences, if you will. Yeah. And so that was big. And that was big of him to say, like, we got to stop shitting on each other.
Yeah, that's pretty. I was like, okay,
that's
pretty cerebral in my
it
opinion.
Is,
like,
right?
Yeah,
it is. So I think that's important. Like, she's not you, you not her.
Right.
The other thing I would say, people always talk about communication, but it's what are you hearing though? It's not necessarily what they're saying. What are you hearing? And then being able to feel safe enough to say, like, well, this is what I heard. Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as much as I know it's impossible for this to happen, or it's a difficult thing to do, stop letting shit build up. Because by the time it blows up, it's like you don't even remember why you was mad in the first place.
Yeah, I'm guilty.
And then it's hard to revisit it and then unpack actually what
the
said,
root.
what was
Yes.
They say all the time that you don't get divorced over like adultery or anything. You get divorced because you squeezed the toothpaste wrong. Yeah, because you didn't. It's just like say one more thing and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think too, anybody who says being married and doing this, it's wonderful. Bullshit. You like got 2 separate lives that you are trying to figure out how to blend them. I wouldn't even say merge, so to speak, but how to blend them. Because there's still aspects that they just ain't gonna merge.
Right.
Because it's, you know what I mean? Like, and so I think that it's okay to be like, okay, well, this is our stuff. This is what we do.
Right.
So if we like having popcorn for breakfast, that's what we do. Now it gets crazy if you go out and tell everybody, well, me and Bear have popcorn in the morning. They be like, what? See, then now you got other people in your business.
Yeah. I will say that was, I don't know if that was a mistake of mine in my last relationship, but I felt like I needed to vent. And it's not like I went and vented to 20 people. Like I was typically venting with my best friend. And so now she may hear me vent or she's in my phone. I'm seeing that I'm talking to my best friend and venting. And now it's like a problem. But my best friend never came back around and said anything to her. She just found out. Right. And so I agree. Like keeping people out of your business is big.
Y'all may not be in agreement with this, right?
Okay, let me hear what you got to say.
Let's hear it.
There are folks who say your partner, your spouse should be your best friend. I don't necessarily agree with that.
Okay.
I don't think they have to be your best friend.
Okay.
I think it's fine to have folks. You use discernment with who you share things with and things of that nature. And so I think it's fine because it's like, first of all, I'm talking to them because I need to process some stuff. Because if you make me process it right now,
it's going to be a problem.
It's going to be bad.
Yeah.
So, let me talk to somebody because that person, is going to talk me off the ledge or going to be like, oh, you was all kind of wrong on that one. So,
you got to make sure you have good friends in that corner anyway.
Yes.
You have to have those kind of friends.
Pay attention. Oh, life lesson. Pay attention to those friends when you're sharing something about your partner, whatever, and they got more to add to the conversation than you.
Like they hyping you up.
Pay attention to that.
Interesting.
Don't overlook that.
Interesting. All right, last question that just popped into my head. So this is your second marriage. One for 11 years, one for 7 years so far.
Yep.
And until forever because we're not doing that again.
No. It is horrible going through a divorce, but nevertheless.
What approach or how did you approach this marriage differently than you did the last? And I don't even know if it was his fault, your fault in quotations, because it's both parties' fault. But
know that's right.
But at the same time, it was his. You say it's his. At the same time, it takes two to tango, as they say. And so you have to approach things a little bit differently, or things that you saw that, dang, I should have did that. I'm not going to do that in this one. What's the biggest thing you would say?
I would say, honestly speaking, I would say for him, I feel badly for him because this is his first marriage. And when you're in your second marriage, you got a whole list of shit you just ain't going to take no more. And unfortunately, and so it was a lot of, my grandmother, may she rest in peace, she taught us how you start something is how you going to finish it. So it was very important for me up front to really talk with him and really share, like, okay, this is just gonna be what it's gonna be.
Right.
So, with it or not. So I probably approached my second marriage with a lot more confidence than I did my first one.
Okay.
Because you knew what it was that you
my
wanted.
first one, my ex-husband was double-digit years older than I was. And so I looked to him for different kind of things. Like in my mind, in the patriarchy of things, is like, you're older, you're supposed to know these things. Well, that's not the case.
Right.
But I wasn't as confident in who I am as a person in my first marriage as I am right now. And so, I got to pray for my husband because because he getting all of it. And that's like, I don't necessarily mean it.
No, yeah,
but he's getting all of it. So I have to be mindful and really. And the other thing I'll say, recognize the stuff you need to unlearn. I had to unlearn a lot of stuff. Like I was raised by a single parent, single mama. And as an adult, I recognized and realized all the stuff I needed to unlearn. And it's fine unlearning those things because it's key. It's key to your healing. It's key to you moving forward. And it's fine because you recognize that they did the best that they knew to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's fine because you're going to give them as much grace as possible. So it's fine to unlearn those things. So unlearn that stuff, yeah.
And be yourself.
Yeah, because you can't keep it up. You can't keep it up. If you started out one way, you gotta figure out how to be like your whole self and be like, this is what it is.
It's what it is, and you're getting all of it.
Yeah. That's how I approach every relationship that I'm in. I think this is because you learn things from other relationships to bring into the new one. And with her, I learned everything that I needed, I feel like, to make for me to be a better person to my partner, and then also be able to pick that person for me. And I think it was interesting that you said, like, one of the things that you want to make sure with your partner is that you are friends first. Yep. And we definitely
are
friends.
I mean, fun fact. We dated when we were 16 for 3 days.
Oh,
3 days?
Because he was bad. And my mom was not going to let me date.
Wait, which one?
This one, my husband. I met him through my very dear friend who has since passed away. We were coming from her house. And we were walking down the street, and I was like, "What is that sound on the porch?" She's like, "Oh, ain't nobody but Big Ed." I said, "Okay." And so then I was like, "Okay, so that's what you say. So I'm gonna walk that way again. What's up?" And we dated for 3 days. And then I had to break up with him because he was bad.
Because he was bad. He's not bad anymore, is he?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay, good.
He think he is.
That's all I got.
Do you have any questions for us?
How did the podcast start? That's what I want to know.
Oh, okay. So I've always wanted to do a podcast, I don't know, for forever. And the last relationship I was in, I wanted to do one about relationships and relationship dynamics and da-da-da-da-da. And she was like, we can't even get it right. How are we going to tell somebody else to get it right? I was like, period.
You might have a point there.
So that died. And so this past summer, I think I told you before this past summer, I was just like, I've always wanted to start a podcast and do yada, yada, yada. He was like, I'm game. I was like, oh, for real? Oh, okay, say less. So here we are.
Yeah. And I think we started right away, thinking of different topics. Yeah. And it was mainly through conversations that we were having, we were like, oh, this would be a great topic. And we would go in our notes and write it down and like come up with like different titles of episodes, which made it even more interesting because we had things to go off of. Like we would leave it there, take a break from it, come back to it, like, I have something else to add to this.
Right.
On top of the fact that we're also still learning each other, right? So
For sure.
with us learning each other in this different dynamic outside of being teammates, we come across different challenges that we probably haven't dealt with same way in other relationships. So we brought it to our podcast because it's something real for us.
And it's like, it's almost
very
like,
mature.
Yeah.
That's very mature.
It's a outlet almost.
It's very therapeutic.
Yeah.
for
I can
us.
see.
Because
sure.
nobody knows this, and I'm telling everybody who will listen later, is like, after we have some of our conversations on a podcast, it sparks conversation as soon as we wrap up.
Yeah.
And we sit and we talk and we work through differences that we hadn't quite, concluded on. Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with true crime podcasts.
Oh.
I mean,
Sword and Scale.
I go to sleep to them.
Do you know Sword and Scale?
So those freak me out though. My coworker, like, so some of that stuff, like, I'm squeamish, so I can't really do some of that. So, but my favorite one is Sisters Who Kill.
I've seen that.
With Taz and Mariah on
I've
Fridays,
seen it.
baby. Bye.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up.
And then Murder with My Husband. That's cute. It's a wife who's obsessed with true crime and a husband who like hates it. So like he sits and like while she tells the story, like, so he's having like reactions as she's telling the story. And then like I try to lighten it up a bit, so I listen to the read. And it's another one, Shits and Gigs or something like that. These two
guys in the UK or something.
Yes,
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that.
But nevertheless,
They're funny.
so shout out to y'all for doing this.
Thank you. Well, thanks for coming upstairs to the pod.
And they were looking for me too while I was up
Oops.
here. That's great. But the food is ready.
Oh, it's ready?
Oh,
so the
okay,
cornbread is not burnt.
That's yet to be determined. She gonna let us know when she go downstairs to see. Thank you, Pam B, for coming upstairs and being on the pod.
Yes, thanks for coming.
Expressing your views. We appreciate it. This will be, it'll be on YouTube, but it'll be live next Sunday.
Next Sunday.
To take a listen back if you want to hear yourself.
Yes.
On Christmas Eve, you can cuddle up and...
Cuddle up.
Okay.
Anyway.
If you like what you're hearing... You can follow us on social media. I was supposed to say this in the very beginning.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm working on it. You can follow us on social media. TikTok is together.real.badpod. Same thing for Instagram. You can check out our website at togetherrealbad.com. And you can email us at the number 2 and then togetherrealbad@gmail.com.
Yeah. And if you want to follow us on social media, like separately, like our different pages, mine on Instagram is Beautifulll with 3 L's _butterfly with 2 Y's. And my TikTok is Beautifulll, 3 L's, and then the number 1 written out.
And then when you follow her, just scroll down and find me. Because I don't know where mine are right now.
I know you didn't. I barely knew mine because I just switched it over. But all right, thanks, guys.
Cool. Thanks so much.
Peace.
She's stuck inside my mental. She got a body like a temple. Even though she drives me crazy, I tell everyone that's my baby. She's pretty like a 4K sunset. Blue-eyed baby from the Midwest. Body so bad when she undressed. If I was your ex, I'd be upset. Little did he know I was up next. Big brown boy with the big flex. I know that you know I'm the one. She's stuck inside my mental. She got a body like a temple. Even though she drives me crazy, I tell everyone that's my baby. Lately gotta keep my memories on a leash. I know they tend to get a little bit away from me. I keep that photo in